company that has invested millions of dollars in this, putting the bacilliotoxin gene into corn. Evan the farmer is buying BT corn from me, Monsanto. I don't want him to save his seeds. Anybody know how I keep him from saving seeds?
You patent it. The corn doesn't produce, or it doesn't produce that.
Okay. First of all, the part of the corn you eat is the seeds. The kernels, if you just let them dry out, you can snap them off and plant them next year. The kernel that you eat is the seed. If I use patent law, I could sue him for saving his seeds, but lawsuits are time consuming. I, Monsanto, have done one better. I add the BT gene into the corn, but I will also add what's called a terminator gene, which makes the corn sterile. It'll grow, it'll make pollen, it'll make seeds, but you cannot grow your own seeds because they contain a terminator gene. So he has to come shop for me next year. And then have to shop for me the year after. And anytime he wants to buy BT corn, he's going to have to pay me. Here's the problem. Another concern with genetically modified crops is genetic contamination. You see, if Evan's BT corn pollen, genetically modified pollen, lands on Dante's organic farm, where he likes to save his seed, next year his seed won't grow. It's called genetic contamination. I ruined his ability to grow his own seeds. Yeah, now of course, my patented genes are showing up at his house. I don't care how you got it, bro. That's my property. You're stealing. It forces him to keep buying seeds because he can't save his own. And of course, in many parts of the world where farmers don't have access to seed companies, it is wrecking the ability of the poor to grow their own food. There's stuff like corn where the pollen has been shown to travel from southern Canada all the way to southern Mexico, sterilizing corn seeds all along the way. Genetic contamination is a big problem because, first of all, an organic farmer cannot sell organic food if it's been contaminated with genetically modified genes. And second of all, they might not be able to sell their seeds either. Sorry, to keep their seeds either, if the genetic contamination includes a terminator gene. Does this make sense to everybody? Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering about, like, it's the BT corn with the bacterium that kills invertebrates.
Not bacterium. Bacterial toxin.
Okay.
We don't get one life form to live inside the corn.
Oh, so, okay.
We get its toxin to be made by the corn.
All right, so, but it's in the corn, but when we eat it, it doesn't affect us.
Perfect.
If you had a pet invertebrate and you gave it to it,
Does it affect the invertebrates that live inside food?
I'm going to guess yes.
so...
And I'm going to guess very good question.
Yeah, what about, like, your taste buds and stuff? Just kill them?
It's a good
Well,
question.
there are a lot of beneficial invertebrates.
Yeah.
So, not even take one, but good stuff too. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
Can they not genetically modify it that doesn't produce pollen?
That's a suppose. I don't know.
They have to.
Maybe that's harder.
Don't they have to be fertilized to produce like the corn?
Yeah, but pollen has the land to make the kernel that you're going to eat, so that would probably prevent you from
I mean,
actually
they don't use the terminator genes. I think they actually
sprout.
like contaminate other plants and cause them to like reproduce.
Back to me. 22 we skipped. Your book does a fine job, but I'm not going to read the book to you. 23, students mess up this explanation all the time. What is overgrazing?
Grazing before it recovers.
Before what recovers?
The stuff they graze.
Grasses.
Not exactly. Yeah?
Plant roots.
Yes, exactly. The roots of the plant. Now, if you and I, with our very limited experience, had to run the farm, we might say, grass is back, bring the cows. But that's a problem, because please look up. The plant above ground is the checking account, but the roots below ground are the savings account. I don't know about how you run your finances, but I keep in my checking account just enough money from what I expect to spend each month. And if something major happens, like I gotta replace my timing belt, I'm gonna have to pull a little extra out of my savings account to do the extra work. Now, when a cow eats the grass, the plant goes, oh dang, gotta break into the savings account, and will use all the energy stored in the roots to make new grass. At that point, if you bring back the cows, you can cut down that grass, and then there's nothing left in the plant to make more, and then it'll die. But if you bring the cows, eat the grass, the roots make more grass, and you wait, an experienced rancher can tell you how long to wait, in 1 or 2 more weeks, the plant will restore its savings underground, and then you can bring back the cows, they'll eat the green, and the roots will make more grass again. The secret is that critical amount of time after the grass comes back while the roots are restoring their energy supply to survive the next grazing. Y'all feel me? Yeah. Questions about that? Okay. That's a 2-star concept, by the way. Number 24, 2 stars, and we've already done this. Erosion versus desertification. Desertification is a loss of soil quality. You prevent that by making more magic mojo. Are there any questions on 4.2 anywhere? All right. 4.3 vocab. I've got something to say about almost all the words, so I'm going to go really quickly, and I hope you have your 4.3. If you didn't do the homework, this is going to hurt. Silviculture is tree farming, usually for lumber. Phloem and xylem are the circulatory system of trees. Have you guys heard of tree rings? Yeah. All the rings on the inside of the tree are dead phloem and xylem. The very outermost ring, what we call the sap wood or the green wood, that's actually alive. The outer ring has phloem that flows down into the tree and xylem that goes up from the roots. Even age versus uneven age stands of wood are different ways to manage your tree farm. even age means they're all the same age. So it's really easy, cheap, and safe to cut them down. You do one clear cut when the forest is ready, plant a million little babies, and you come back in 30 years and clear cut again. That is the most efficient, and by the way, safest for the loggers. But anybody know a problem with clear cutting?
Quite bad on the soil.
Yeah, very bad on the Easter Island, anyone?
Erosion.
You get rid of all the trees, you get rid of all the dirt.
Yeah.
So even age stands are more profitable, makes sense from a business sense, but in the long term, they wreck your forest. So uneven age stands are forests with a mix of trees, some older, some younger. It's more time consuming and more expensive and more dangerous for the logger to have to log selectively, to pick the mature trees and let the other ones grow. But it's better in the long-term management of the forest because it preserves the soil. Yeah.
There is a safety issue for even age, right? Because it's not necessarily for the loggers, but doesn't it, in areas with more rain, they found that landslides increase landslides.
Absolutely. Peripheral safety is opposite for logger safety. The safest thing for a logger is to knock all the trees this way and keep the loggers on that side.
And they go use pesticides for the native trees, and then it's all running off because there's no.
Dang, what's up, Mr. Downer? It's all bad news when I talk to you, buddy.
In your watershed, in your water.
What is old growth forest?
Ooh. Virgin forests that have not been cut down.
Exactly. Anybody know where students make a mistake? Anybody want to guess what the mistake is?
That they're really old forests.
That they're really old trees.
The trees still die eventually and fall over.
Right. The definition of old growth forest is actually trees at all stages of maturity. If I have an undisturbed human population, that's not going to be just old people. So if I have an old growth forest, which is an undisturbed forest, that will not be just old trees. Don't make this mistake. Everybody does. Trees that get to live out their whole life cycle uninterrupted. All different ages. Little baby trees, little medium age trees, old trees, everything in between. Dominant trees get the most light. They're the most common and they also get the most light. Co-dominant trees is if more than one species does that. You can use your smartphone to find images of a tree canopy from above. And if they all look the same, that's a single dominant forest. But from the air, if you see different colors and different shapes, that's a co-dominant forest. Intermediate trees are poking a little bit into the light. Suppressed are all stuck in the dark. And the one study goal that we absolutely must discuss today in our last just a couple of minutes. We've got 11 minutes. Study goal number 25. This is a big deal. You live in Santa Barbara. This affects your potential for life and for property rights. I cannot stress enough how important forest management is here. Students, when it rains, I always take an umbrella and cover all the trees because I feel bad that they're getting wet. Am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
Why is it not necessary for me to put an umbrella over a tree?
Trees are all
They've evolved in the presence of rain. They're going to be okay if they get wet. Don't worry.